Hey, Weekly Walk viewers, happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a great week. This week, I am sitting down with Astha Malik, who is VP of Global Go to Market Strategy, Planning, and Enablement at Zendesk. So she wears a lot of hats, and we talk about a topic that you don't hear much about, which is being a leader, leading a group of leaders versus individual contributors. So Asta and I spend some time talking about that, also talking about diversity and inclusion and why you need to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. And of course, in honor of Women's History Month, who her female role model is. And I let her cheat and she gave us two. So check out the Weekly Walk and we'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys. Hey, Weekly Walk viewers. I am here with Astha Malik, who is VP of Go-to-Market Strategy, Planning, and Enablement at Zendesk. That's a lot of. I was going to say, they gave it all to you. So
yeah,
it is
exciting.
Great. I know it's great to have you on. And where are we right now? We were just joking how my pink is really popping against the purple, but tell us where we are.
It's going perfectly with the purple. So we are in south of France, Provence, in some lavender field somewhere. But it's kind of like one of my favorite places. And of course, we haven't been able to travel for quite some time. But once we were able to, I want to go back there. And I think it's a twofer, right? First of all, it's south of France, and then you have lavender, which has a calming effect on you. So I think we all deserve that right now. So I can't wait.
I would 100% agree. I think this time next year, hopefully we will be able to say that we're either in France in the lavender fields frolicking, or like planning a trip to go to them. So awesome. Well, we were just saying it, your role encompasses a lot at Zendesk. Can you just give us a quick overview of everything that you do in a nutshell?
Yeah, so I've been at Zendesk for 4 years. So I've also worn multiple hats. I actually joined as a VP of product and platform marketing for all product lines. So again, it's been a phenomenal ride. We crossed $1 billion in revenue last year. So really thankful and lucky to be at a company that grew that fast and, frankly, has become an iconic company in the Valley.
Oh yeah, very much so. All about product-led growth too, which we love it. I love it. Open view.
Definitely.
So, awesome. So in your role, one of the things you do is you lead a team of leaders. And that's a topic that I feel like, you don't hear people talk about much is being a leader and then leading a team of leaders. How is that different from leading a team of individual contributors? When you're looking for your leaders, what are the red flags people should look for, but also what are the green flags that people should look for?
Yeah, I have to say, I think leadership is a journey. At least it's been a journey for me. And I think the first one is the I versus we use. How many times do people say, well, I've done this, and instead of my team, and we did this. And again, going back to the individual contributor piece, I think, you can be compelled to say I, and frankly, sometimes, we do put people in positions where what did you specifically do? So, people tend to gravitate towards using the I, but I think if people are using the term we, or, if you're not sure, you should be rest assured that, your team's performance is an indication of your great leadership and performance as well. So, that to me is a red flag if people, just overcompensate with, well, I did this and I did this. Meanwhile, they're managing a large team. So that's never a good sign. The other is listening more actively. And this has been a learning for me too, right? I think, again, everybody knows their weak spots and, strengths and areas that need to develop. Listening more has been one, and actively and attentively to your teams has been one area that I had to work on. But I think that, again, can be a skill that you develop, because at the end of the day, your intent should be to develop a team who can, bring their best selves to work. And for that, you have to listen to them instead of continuously telling them what to do. And the other is do people really ask a lot of questions? I think as leaders, sometimes you feel that you need to have answers to all the questions. I feel actually vulnerability is a great leadership quality. So, when you're having conversations, part of the interview process as well, listen, or maybe ask questions around, give me an example of when things didn't work out, how did that feel? How did you overcome that? So I think, person's ability to articulate that in, just a very earnest way shows a lot of strength instead of the inability to do something right.
You've heard it here on the Weekly Walk, folks. Ask those questions. So, all right. You are an advocate for diversity, and now more than ever, it's something companies are talking about doing, especially within the past year. But in some cases, it is just that, it's just talk. And How can an organization go from saying, we're doing something about this, we're doing something about this, to moving the needle? Like, what is step one?
There are a lot of ideas. There's a lot of discussion. There are a lot of thoughts around diversity, but what matters most is action. And I think there are a couple of things that we should be looking at. One is, like, as an organization, right? It's the leadership's responsibility to make this a business imperative. If you're not going to make it a business imperative, if it's not going to be something that your people are going to be measured on, and you don't really have clear, OKRs or goals around it, it's never going to be prioritized, right? It's always going to be in the back burner because people are not been incentivized to think that way. They're not being held accountable the same way as everything else that you're asking them to do. So they'll end up prioritizing for what, they will be rewarded for. So
Yep.
I think, to me, that's an important step. And we definitely have those goals and OKRs at Zendesk, which helps.
Yep.
But if your organization doesn't have goals, right, I think it can be like, okay, well, there are no goals. What do I do? Or, like, you're thinking that I don't get to define the goals, but I want to do something different. I think don't overthink it, right? I mean,
Okay.
there's so much opportunity and there's such a long way for us to go that,
Yep.
you can take some micro steps for yourself and for your team, right? It can be
Yep.
as simple as recognizing someone who's not getting paid enough on your team as
Yep.
compared to others while they're doing an equal amount of great work. And, you can recognize that and make that a goal for yourself, right? Just say,
Yep.
I'm going to do this one thing this year and bring that pay parity or equity to the table for this person. And that's a great step, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody who's not getting promoted because, they're not being mentored, take up the responsibility to do that. Like, no action or no step is really that small. Like I said, I think, every step and everything will count because there's a lot of work that we have to do. So
Yeah.
don't get overwhelmed or don't overthink it.
Okay, perfect. So that's easy advice. Just one small step. Crawl before you can, what is it? Crawl, walk, run. So
Yes, crawl, walk, run.
crawl,
And
walk,
crawling
run.
is perfectly fine, and
Yes.
it should be acceptable.
Yes, and it's moving you forward, so it's definitely
Exactly.
acceptable. And then my favorite question for Women's History Month: well, who is your female role model and why?
Can I cheat here? Can I give
You
you
can
two?
cheat.
Like one
Yes,
that
you can give me
I've
you
actually
can
known.
cheat. You can cheat.
Yeah, I can cheat. Thank you. At least I'm being honest that I'm cheating. But I think two things. Like I feel I can give you an example of a woman that I know of and I've worked with, and then, like, somebody I just admire from a distance, and maybe I should start with that, and that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I mean, 2020 was hard enough and we lost an icon. And what's there not to love about her? I just feel everything that she stood for, everything that she fought for, everything that she did, which ultimately helped all women, is incredible. And then her wit, her quiet and easy charm. There's so much to learn. So I'm inspired. I think at this point in time, I've read a lot of books about her. I've watched a lot of documentaries, all the films that have been made about her. And I've made my 13-year-old son do the same with me. And I think that's great. And he's inspired too. So that definitely is on my, like, top list as the women that inspire me. So, it was hard to bear that loss that last year, but at the same time, we're so fortunate that we had somebody like that fighting for us for so many years.
Very much.
And then on a personal level, somebody that I really admire, again, there are lots of women, right? I think, again, it takes a village to help you get to where you are. To support you through the way, your family, your friends, and people at work. Most recently, in the last few years, Elena Gomez, who's been the CFO at Zendesk, has been, and such a tremendous mentor, friend, and leader for all of us. I'm lucky that I've worked with her, and she really does walk the talk. She'll speak up for what's not right. She'll speak up for you, and she supported me through highs and lows. And I continue to get inspired not only by what she's done in her career and all the accomplishments, but again, her intent to really advance the cause of diversity and inclusion. And I've seen that in action for myself. So really, really inspired forever by Elena Gomez.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to Elena. We'll get her on the weekly walk next time. She can talk all about that. We have to say RBG too. She had great accessories. We can't, someone who loves
I know, right?
I think,
you're channeling some form of that.
I love a good accessory. Awesome. Well, Astha, thank you so much for joining me on our weekly sit, I suppose, otherwise known as our weekly walks in the pandemic. And weekly walk viewers, we'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.